I used to believe trust was the glue in a marriage. But glue only works when both sides want to stick. That night, I told myself I was just being silly, that Ethan was really in San Diego for work. And yet, with every step I took toward room 1247, my gut whispered louder than my logic ever could. The elevator doors opened with that soft ding on the 12th floor of the luxury hotel in downtown San Diego. My heels clicked against the marble. As I walked down the hallway, room 1247, 1245, 1243. There it was, 1247. I stood there for a moment, clutching the bottle of champagne I'd brought from our wine collection, Dom Perignon 2012, the same one we'd opened on our wedding night 12 years ago. I thought it would be the perfect surprise for Ethan's big tech presentation trip. I had trusted him with my whole world, and now that world was breaking in slow motion. God, I was so naive. My hand trembled slightly as I raised it to knock. Something felt off. The hallway was too quiet, and there was this strange energy in the air that I couldn't quite name. But I pushed the feeling down. Ethan was probably just stressed about his demo tomorrow. Knock knock. Room service, I called out playfully, trying to add some surprise to my voice. Footsteps, then a pause, then more footsteps, but they sounded frantic. The door handle turned and my world collapsed. In 3 seconds, Chloe Reynolds stood there in nothing but a white hotel bathrobe, her blonde hair messy, her lipstick smudged, my husband's project secretary, the girl who'd been working late nights with him for months. Mrs. Carter. Her voice was barely a whisper, but I caught the panic in her eyes. The champagne bottle slipped from my hands. The sound of it hitting the marble floor echoed through the hallway like a gunshot. Glass everywhere, champagne foaming and spreading across the expensive carpet. "What are you doing here?" I asked, but my voice didn't sound like mine. It sounded hollow, distant, like it was coming from someone else's throat. That's when I heard him, Ethan's voice from inside the room. "Chloe? Who is it? If it's room service, just tell them we don't." He appeared behind her, towel wrapped around his waist, hair wet from the shower. When he saw me, his face went through every emotion possible in about 2 seconds. Shock, fear, panic, then calculation. "Olivia, what are you? How did you? I can explain." "Can you?" I asked. "Can you really explain why your secretary is in your hotel room wearing nothing but a robe while you're half naked?" "Get dressed," I said quietly. "Both of you, now." Chloe scurried back into the room. Ethan stood there frozen, like a deer in headlights. "Olivia, listen to me. This isn't what it looks like." "Oh really? Then what is it, Ethan? What exactly am I looking at right now?" He stepped closer, and I caught the scent of her perfume on him. Something floral and young and nothing like what I wear. The smell made my stomach turn. We were working on the Baxter account. Chloe spilled coffee on her dress, and she was just cleaning up. I was in the shower because I had a long day and... "Stop." I held up my hand. "Just stop talking." The lies were so pathetic, so insulting to my intelligence that I actually felt embarrassed for him. Did he really think I was that stupid? That I'd believe such a ridiculous story? Chloe came back out, now dressed in a wrinkled business suit that clearly had been thrown on the floor. She couldn't meet my eyes. "Mrs. Carter, I'm sorry you had to see this. It's not what you think." "Then what is it, Chloe? Please enlighten me." She looked at Ethan, then back at me. It was just business. We had to work late, and Ethan got me a separate room, but the key cards got mixed up and... "You're both terrible liars," I said, my voice eerily calm. "Absolutely terrible." Ethan stepped forward again. "Olivia, please, let's go home and talk about this. There's nothing going on between Chloe and me. She's just an employee." "Just an employee?" I laughed, but it came out broken, bitter. "Ethan, she's wearing the same perfume you bought me for Valentine's Day. The same one that's been on your shirts for months. The same one I've been smelling in our house, in our car, on our couch." His face went pale. "You want to know what's funny? I actually convinced myself I was being paranoid. All those late nights, all those business trips, all those times you came home and went straight to the shower. I told myself I was being a jealous wife, that I needed to trust him more." I looked at Chloe. She was young, beautiful. Everything I used to be before 12 years of marriage and building a life with someone who was apparently building a different one with someone else. "How long?" I asked. "Olivia, don't do this to yourself." "How long, Ethan?" Silence. The kind of silence that fills up a room and makes it hard to breathe. 8 months, Chloe whispered. 8 months. 8 months of lies. 8 months of I love you and how was your day and I missed you, while he was sharing a bed with her. 8 months of being invisible in my own home. 8 months of laughing at his jokes, cooking his meals, folding his laundry, while he gave his attention to someone else. I felt something crack inside my chest, not break. Crack, like ice on a frozen pond when the temperature starts to rise. I need to go, I said. Olivia, wait, don't follow me. I walked back toward the elevator, stepping over the broken glass and champagne stains. My heels clicked against the marble again, but this time it sounded different. Sharper. Angrier. As the elevator doors closed, I saw Ethan still standing in the hallway, still in his towel, watching me leave. He looked small. Pathetic. Nothing like the man I thought I'd married. The elevator descended, and with each floor, I felt something changing inside me. The heartbreak was still there, crushing and raw, but underneath it was something else. Something colder. Something that whispered, "This isn't over." I walked through the hotel lobby with my head high, ignoring the stares from other guests who could probably sense the drama radiating off me. The doorman opened the door with a polite smile. "Have a good evening, ma'am." "Oh, I will," I said. "I absolutely will." The drive home from San Diego was the longest 3 hours of my life. Every song on the radio seemed to be about love or betrayal. Every billboard, every exit sign, every mile marker reminded me that I was driving away from my old life, and toward what exactly? There was a moment, somewhere between Oceanside and Santa Ana, when I actually started to wonder if this was my fault. Maybe I'd been too focused on work. Maybe I'd let myself go after the kids. Chloe was younger, thinner, more energetic. I hated myself for thinking it, but the thoughts wouldn't stop. I didn't cry, not once. My eyes burned the whole drive, but no tears came. I think my soul had gone numb. I called in sick to work the next day, and the day after that, I couldn't face anyone. Couldn't pretend everything was normal when my entire world had just exploded. Ethan came home 2 days later. He slipped into our house like a thief, quiet and careful. I was sitting in the living room, still in my pajamas, surrounded by tissues and empty coffee cups. "Olivia," he said softly, "we need to talk." I looked at him, really looked at him. When had he started styling his hair differently? When had he started wearing cologne that wasn't the one I'd bought him? When had he stopped being the man I fell in love with? "Talk about what, Ethan? About how you've been lying to me for 8 months? About how you've been sleeping with your assistant while I've been home planning our anniversary dinner?" He sat down across from me, and I noticed he was wearing a new shirt. Expensive. Definitely not from his usual stores. "I never meant for this to happen," he said, "but it did happen. For 8 months, it happened. Olivia, I love you. I've always loved you. Chloe is she's just a mistake." "A mistake that lasted 8 months? A mistake you took to San Diego? A mistake you bought expensive gifts for?" His eyes widened. "How did you?" "The credit card statements, Ethan. I see everything. The jewelry, the dinners, the hotel rooms, all of it." We sat in silence for a moment. The house felt different now, smaller, like it was closing in on me. "I want to fix this," he said finally. "I want to save our marriage." "Do you? Or do you just want to save yourself?" Over the next few days, I tried to act normal. I went back to work, smiled at my colleagues, attended meetings. But inside, I was dying. Every time my phone buzzed, I wondered if it was him texting her. Every time he worked late, I wondered if he was actually working. Even sleep wasn't safe anymore. I'd wake up in the middle of the night with phantom memories of their laughter ringing in my ears. Then came the call that changed everything. "Olivia, it's Noah." Noah Jameson had been my best friend since college. We'd stayed close even after I got married, and Ethan had always been slightly jealous of our friendship. Noah was a private investigator now, running his own firm in downtown Los Angeles. "I heard about Ethan," he said. "I'm sorry." "How did you?" "Olivia. Everyone knows. That's why I'm calling." My blood turned to ice. "What do you mean everyone knows?" "I mean the whole office. Chloe's she's been bragging about it, about how she stole Ethan from his boring old wife." The words hit me like a physical blow. I had to sit down. "She said that? I'm sorry, I didn't want to tell you, but I thought you should know. She's been telling people that Ethan's going to leave you for her, that that you're past your prime, that you don't understand him anymore. I felt something die inside me, the last piece of dignity I'd been clinging to. It felt like someone had reached into my chest and twisted what was left of my pride into shreds. There's more, Noah continued. I did some digging. Ethan's been spending company money on her. Expensive dinners, jewelry, weekend trips, all charged to his corporate card as client entertainment. That's fraud. Exactly. And Olivia, I think his boss knows. I think they've been covering for him because he's a good salesman. But if this gets out publicly, he's done. After I hung up, I sat in the kitchen for an hour, staring at the wall. The same wall where we'd hung our wedding photos, our vacation pictures, our anniversary celebrations. All lies, all meaningless now. And I couldn't even bring myself to take the frames down. They just stared back at me like mocking ghosts. Ethan came home that night acting like nothing had happened. He kissed my forehead, asked about my day, complained about traffic, normal husband behavior, as if he hadn't destroyed our marriage, as if he hadn't humiliated me in front of his entire office. How was Chloe today? I asked casually over dinner. He nearly choked on his food. What do you mean? I mean, how was she at work? Is she handling the Baxter account well? Olivia, I told you, there's nothing. I know what you told me, Ethan. I also know what everyone else is saying. He went very still. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the fact that your entire office knows about your affair. I'm talking about the fact that Chloe has been bragging about stealing you from your boring old wife. His face went white. Olivia, that's not, she wouldn't say that. Wouldn't she? Are you sure? Because apparently, she's been quite vocal about your relationship, about how you're going to leave me for her, about how I'm too old and boring to keep a man like you. Ethan opened his mouth, then closed it. For the first time in our marriage, he had nothing to say. You know what the worst part is? I continued. It's not that you cheated. It's not even that you lied. It's that you made me feel like I was going crazy. All those times I asked if something was wrong. All those times I said I felt disconnected from you. You made me think it was my fault. You made me think I was paranoid, insecure. You gaslit me into silence. You turned my intuition into weakness. That's what hurts the most. You stole 8 months of my life, Ethan. 8 months where I could have been moving on, finding someone who actually wanted to be with me. Instead, I was here, trying to fix a marriage you'd already destroyed. I stood up from the table, leaving my dinner untouched. I'm sleeping in the guest room, I said. And Ethan, if you bring her to our house, if you continue this relationship under my roof, I will make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of man you are. He didn't argue. He didn't try to stop me. He just sat there, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. That night, lying in the guest bed, I made a decision. I wasn't going to be the heartbroken wife anymore. I wasn't going to be the woman who got discarded for someone younger and prettier. I was going to be the woman who won. The kind of woman who doesn't just survive betrayal, she turns it into her battlefield. The next morning I called Noah. I need your help, I said, and I need you to be completely honest with me about what Ethan's been doing. Olivia, are you sure you want to know? Some of this stuff is going to hurt. Noah, I'm already hurt. I'm already humiliated. What I need now is ammunition. We met at a coffee shop in Westwood, far enough from both our offices to avoid any awkward encounters. Noah spread out a manila folder on the table between us. I've been investigating, he said. Since we talked yesterday, he said, your husband is in more trouble than you know. The documents he showed me were devastating. Credit card statements showing thousands of dollars in charges to jewelry stores, expensive restaurants, weekend hotels, all of it marked as business expenses on his company reports. This is embezzlement, I said, scanning the papers. It gets worse. Look at this. He handed me a series of printed emails. My hands shook as I read them. Messages between Ethan and Chloe, planning their trips, laughing about their secret meetings, making jokes about how clueless I was. She calls me the wife in these emails, I said quietly. Not Olivia, not even Ethan's wife. Just the wife, like I'm some obstacle to their happiness. Olivia, no, it's good. You need to see this. You need to know exactly who you're dealing with. Noah leaned forward. There's something else. I found out that Ethan's been telling people at work that you two are separated, that you're getting divorced, that he's already moved on. The coffee cup in my hand started to shake. What? He's been laying the groundwork for months, making it seem like your marriage was already over before Chloe came into the picture. Classic cheater behavior. Rewrite the story to make themselves look better. I set the cup down carefully. So according to him, I'm the crazy ex-wife who won't let go. That's the narrative he's building? Yes. Something clicked into place in my mind, a cold, clear understanding of exactly what had been happening. He's been planning this all along, I said. The affair, the financial fraud, the lies about our marriage. He's been systematically destroying everything while making sure he looks like the victim. Noah nodded. I think you're right. And Olivia, I think he's planning to leave you with nothing. The house, the savings, the investments. He's been moving money around, small amounts, but consistently. To where? Joint accounts with Chloe. Investments in her name. He's been building a nest egg for their future. The betrayal was so complete, so calculated that I almost laughed. Almost. What are my options? I asked. Legally, you could file for divorce, expose the embezzlement, and probably get everything in the settlement. But Olivia, that could take years. And Ethan's smart. He'll try to hide or spend everything before you can get to it. What about professionally? Noah smiled. Now that's where it gets interesting. Ethan's company takes fraud very seriously. If his boss knew about this, he'd be fired immediately. And Chloe, she'd be considered an accomplice. His boss doesn't know? I don't think so. Ethan's been careful to keep it under the radar. But if someone were to present this information in the right way? I stared at the documents, my mind working. What's the company's policy on relationships between supervisors and subordinates? Forbidden. Immediate termination for both parties. And fraud? Criminal charges. Termination. Blacklisting from the industry. I gathered the papers and put them back in the folder. I need copies of everything. And Noah, I need you to find out when Ethan's company is having their next big event. Why? Because I'm going to give them a presentation they'll never forget. Over the next 2 weeks, I became a different person. I woke up early, went to the gym, got my hair done, bought new clothes. I started acting like the confident, successful woman I'd forgotten I was. Ethan noticed the changes, but attributed them to the wrong reasons. You look good, he said one morning, watching me get ready for work. Are you feeling better about everything? I'm feeling like myself again, I said. Which was true, just not in the way he thought. I was meticulous in my planning. I reached out to my professional network, updated my resume, and started putting together a portfolio of my best work. I also started documenting everything. Ethan's late nights, his phone calls in the other room, his sudden interest in expensive gifts and designer clothes. The breakthrough came when Cynthia, Ethan's mother, called me. Olivia, honey, I need to talk to you about something. Cynthia had never liked Ethan's career in sales. She thought he was too charming for his own good, too willing to bend the truth to get what he wanted. She'd always been kind to me, but I'd sensed she was disappointed in her son's choices. What is it, Cynthia? Ethan's been asking me for money. He says it's for a business investment, but Olivia, he's never been good with money. And he's been acting strange lately. Secretive. I closed my eyes. Cynthia, there's something I need to tell you. I told her everything, about Chloe, about the affair, about the embezzlement. Cynthia listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. I'm not surprised, she said finally. I'm disappointed, but not surprised. That boy has always thought he was smarter than everyone else. I'm sorry, Cynthia. I know he's your son. He's my son, but that doesn't mean I approve of what he's doing. Olivia, what can I do to help? That's when I knew I had everything I needed. Actually, I said, I might have an idea. The plan was beautiful in its simplicity. Ethan's company was having their annual holiday party at the Ritz-Carlton, the same hotel where I'd discovered his affair. The irony was too perfect to ignore. The Ritz looked exactly the same as it had 3 weeks ago. Same marble floors, same crystal chandeliers, same elevator that had carried me to heartbreak. But this time, I wasn't the broken wife coming to surprise her husband. I was something else entirely. I wore a black dress that cost more than Ethan's monthly car payment. My hair was perfect, my makeup flawless, and I carried myself like the successful businesswoman I'd forgotten I was. The invitation in my purse was my ticket to the show. Olivia Carter, new compliance consultant. I'd told Ethan's boss when I called him 2 days ago, I understand you're looking for someone to review your employee expense policies. It had been that simple. One phone call, one professional reference from a former client. And suddenly, I was the featured speaker at their holiday party. Amazing what you can accomplish when you stop thinking like a victim and start thinking like a predator. The ballroom was packed. 200 employees, their spouses, upper management, even a few clients. Ethan was there, of course, looking handsome in his expensive suit. Chloe was beside him, wearing a red dress that screamed other woman to anyone paying attention. They saw me the moment I walked in. Ethan's face went through the same cycle of emotions I'd seen in the hotel hallway. Shock, fear, confusion, then calculation. Chloe just looked terrified. Olivia! Ethan pushed through the crowd toward me. What are you doing here? I'm working, I said calmly. I'm the compliance consultant your company hired. You're the... What? Didn't Mr. Peterson tell you? I'm here to present our findings on expense account irregularities. At that moment, Robert Peterson appeared at my elbow. Mrs. Carter, so glad you could make it. Are you ready for your presentation? Absolutely, I said, smiling. I think everyone's going to find it very illuminating. The presentation setup was perfect. A large screen at the front of the room, a podium with a microphone, and a crowd of people who had no idea what was about to happen. I'd spent 2 weeks preparing for this moment, and every slide was a masterpiece of professional destruction. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Peterson announced, I'd like to introduce Olivia Carter, our new compliance consultant. She's here to discuss some important findings about our expense account policies. Polite corporate applause followed, from people who had no idea they were about to witness a public execution. I stepped to the podium and looked out at the crowd. Ethan was standing near the back, Chloe beside him. Both of them looked like they wanted to disappear. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Good evening, everyone. I'm here tonight to discuss a serious issue that affects every one of you, the misuse of company funds. The first slide appeared on the screen, a simple chart showing expense account spending over the past year. Nothing dramatic, just numbers. As you can see, most employees stay well within their allocated budgets, but there are some notable exceptions. The second slide showed individual spending patterns. Ethan's name wasn't on it yet, but I could already see him shifting uncomfortably in the crowd. Tonight, I said, I want to focus on one particular case study. An employee who has been systematically defrauding this company for the past 8 months. The third slide was a photograph of a jewelry store receipt, $3,200 for a diamond necklace, charged to the company as client entertainment. This employee has been using company funds to purchase expensive gifts, pay for luxury hotel rooms, and finance an elaborate personal lifestyle. The fourth slide showed restaurant bills, high-end steakhouses, wine bars, intimate dining spots, all charged as business expenses. The total amount of fraudulent charges exceeds $47,000. A murmur went through the crowd. This was more than anyone had expected. But I wasn't done. The fraud itself isn't the most interesting part of this story, I continued. What's interesting is who was receiving these gifts. The fifth slide appeared, a selfie of Chloe wearing the diamond necklace, posted to social media. Captioned, "Gifts from my special someone." The room went completely silent. The employee in question has been having an affair with his subordinate and using company money to fund their relationship. The sixth slide showed Ethan and Chloe caught on camera entering a hotel together. Noah had been thorough in his investigation. Not only is this a violation of company policy regarding relationships between supervisors and subordinates, but it's also criminal fraud. I looked directly at Ethan. His face was completely white. The employee I'm referring to is Ethan Carter, your senior software team lead. The reaction was immediate and devastating. Gasps, whispers, people turning to stare at Ethan and Chloe, phones coming out recording everything. Mr. Carter has been telling his colleagues that his marriage is over, that he's separated from his wife. But I can confirm that Ethan and I are still very much married. We live in the same house, share the same bank accounts, and until 3 weeks ago I had no idea he was stealing from his employer to fund his affair. Ethan tried to speak, but his voice cracked. Olivia, you can't. I can, I said into the microphone, and I am. Because you didn't just steal from this company, Ethan, you stole from me. You stole 8 months of my life, my dignity, my trust, and my future. The seventh slide showed it all. Bank statements, credit card bills, email exchanges between Ethan and Chloe, everything laid out in devastating detail. Miss Reynolds, Ethan's accomplice in this fraud, has been bragging to colleagues about her relationship with a married man. She's been telling people that she stole Ethan from his boring old wife. Chloe tried to leave, but the crowd was too thick. She was trapped, just like I had been trapped in my marriage. I'm recommending immediate termination for both employees, criminal charges for embezzlement, and a complete audit of all expense accounts. Mr. Peterson stood up. Mr. Carter, Ms. Reynolds, you need to leave immediately. Security will escort you out. But I wasn't finished. There's one more thing, I said. Mr. Peterson, I believe your company could benefit from a more thorough compliance program. I'd like to propose a 6-month consulting contract to help you prevent this kind of fraud in the future. He nodded grimly. I think that's an excellent idea. As security escorted Ethan and Chloe out of the ballroom, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Victory. The aftermath was swift and brutal. Within 48 hours, Ethan was officially terminated. Chloe was transferred to Detroit, a move that effectively ended her career advancement at the company. The local news picked up the story of the corporate fraud case. They left out the affair, but everyone knew. Ethan came home that night looking like a broken man. His confident swagger was gone, replaced by the hunched shoulders of someone who'd lost everything in a single evening. Olivia, we need to talk, he said. I was sitting in the living room, exactly where I'd been 3 weeks ago when he came home from San Diego. But everything was different now. I was different. What's there to talk about, Ethan? You're unemployed. You're about to be charged with embezzlement. And your girlfriend is moving to Detroit. Dear friend, sometimes power doesn't come from yelling, fighting, or seeking revenge. It comes from clarity, from knowing the truth and refusing to carry someone else's shame on your shoulders. Olivia's story isn't just about betrayal. It's about rising, about turning devastation into dignity. Her strength wasn't loud. It was precise. It came from embracing what hurt without letting it define her. That, my friend, is the essence of Stoic wisdom. We don't control what others do, but we always control how we respond. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Olivia found hers, not by screaming, but by walking into that ballroom with her head high and her truth even higher. And yes, life will knock you down. People will disappoint you, lie to you, even build futures that exclude you while still smiling at your face. But that doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're real. It means your heart still beats with meaning. So if you've ever been made to feel small, forgettable, or discarded, remember Olivia. Let her story remind you that your silence can be strategic, your pain can become purpose, and your ending can be the beginning of something far more powerful. Your past is not your punishment, it's your preparation. Stay brave, stay honest, and never let betrayal be the last chapter of your story. If Olivia's journey moved you, please consider liking this video, sharing it with someone who needs strength, and subscribing for more powerful stories. Thank you, from the bottom of our hearts, for being part of this community. Your support gives us the strength to keep sharing what matters.